Our U.S. Women's Amateur Championship finalists, 16-year-old prodigies, Brooke Henderson of Canada, number 2 in the world among amateur women, and Kristen Gillman of Austin, Texas, a giant killer of sorts this week. She's knocked off 3 of the world's top 10 and now goes up against a 4th. A 36-hole final, 18 played this morning in this morning's round. Henderson had a 1-up lead on the par 3 5th when Gillman hit her tee shot left to the green.
And like she's been doing all week, she's shown great short game prowess. That was a heck of a shot.
The 9th hole, both Gillman and Henderson with birdie putts.
Gillman from about 25, 26 feet. Her opponent in half the distance away. She makes first. Her opponent fails to make birdie.
Now we're all square. It was back to all square for the 17th when Henderson finished the morning round with a flourish.
They both actually birdied the par 5 15th, both parred the 16th, and then this stellar shot from Henderson, probably the best iron shot of the day.
That was a conceded birdie. Henderson 1-up going to 18 and in the left rough.
A great example here of her strength, being able to control an iron shot out of the thick primary rough. Judges it beautifully.
She makes that for a birdie finish. 2 up heading into the afternoon round on the 21st hole. After Gillman hit the ball in the water, surely she's going to lose this. That's a bogey putt.
Yeah, you think she's out of it. Don't ever count Gillman out. She digs down deep and finds a way to have the hole.
Henderson bogeyed that as well. And then moments ago on number 7, Henderson with this putt for birdie. And it falls. The 25th hole of the tournament, and Brooke Henderson now has a 2-up lead over Kristen Gillman. As we go now to the 8th green, Gillman 2 down for birdie.
And she's left this putt hole high right. Seeing if she can rise to the occasion and make a putt similar to what her opponent just did on the last hole. Oh, and that was mighty frisky there. Really misjudged the break in the speed. That's unusual. She's been very good on the greens this week.
This is Randy Moss with Kay Cockrell, joined in the booth by Steve Burkowski and down on the course by Phil Blackmar and Jane Crafter. And interpreting our rules from the USGA is John Vanderbort. Now back up to the green. Henderson now for her birdie.
This putt swings a little bit to her left and pretty quick, as you could tell from Gillman's putt. She needs to be careful with this. A fabulous putt she made in the last. Both these players played just fantastically today.
Big advantage to have learned about the speed and break from her opponent. Should be able to cozy it down there, and she does. Great student right there. And that most likely will be conceded. A lot of times players will have their opponent and put a mark on it with the intention of conceding after they putt.
You know, Phil mentioned it, what spectacular golf we've seen already. Henderson 3 under in the morning round.
Versus Gillman's 1 under par 69. So there's the 2-up difference in the morning 18.
Okay, a big putt now to avoid going 3 down for Kristen. Back uphill, should swing a little to her right. See if she can dig down deep here.
Oh, that was a good stroke. Just gave herself too much to try to recover from, and that's a unforced error, 3 putt.
So Gillman now 3 down, but remember she rallied from a 4 down deficit 2 days ago against number 8 in the world, Sue O. Let's check out Gillman's reaction.
I think she felt like she stroked it well, just a teeny bit of a misread, a difference of a half an inch.
She's just 16, but you see she's flying the University of Alabama colors. She has verbally committed to the Crimson Tide, and here we are with Henderson, a 3-up lead through 26 holes of our 36-hole final. So Henderson will be the first to play on number 9. Let's bring in Steve Burkowski.
Good afternoon, Randy. The 299-yard short par 4. Earlier this morning, Gillman rolled in a long birdie putt to win the hole, but Henderson 3 up with the honor on the tee in a very critical and perhaps dangerous part of this match for Gillman. As if you give Henderson a 3-up lead, you're climbing uphill just a little bit at this point in time.
And a little breeze back in the player's face, 299 yards up the hill. Henderson's had a hard time hitting this fairway this week. She's been going with a 3-wood.
I think she likes it. Pick the tee up
Yeah,
rather
she
quickly.
likes that one. She actually laid back a little bit further this time. She'd been challenging the narrow part of this fairway earlier in the week, but that's in good shape.
So Henderson in the fairway here at 9. Gillman next to go. You can see her journey to this championship match, taking off 3 players in the top 10. Number 10 in the world, number 8 in the world, and number 4 in the world. And now going up against the second-ranked amateur in the world.
Yeah, I wonder if she's met her match, but you never know. She's got so much tenacity, this young lady. Heading to Alabama in a couple of years. Just a fairway wood. And that will be fine as well.
So a couple of good drives there on number 9 as we are more than halfway through this 36-hole final. Golf Channel and the United States Golf Association proudly present a national championship. Today, live coverage of the final, the 114th U.S. Women's Amateur. This is the centennial return of the Women's Amateur to the historic Nassau Country Club. It was last played here in 1914. And in the 100 years since, the USGA has kept the Women's Amateur Trophy the same. The Cox Trophy was first presented way back in 1896. Here this week, a couple of hyperboles definitely apply. The course has been fantastic, and the weather again today is sensational. And again, Brooke Henderson has a 3-up lead through 26 holes in our final over Kristen Gillman. All right, let's bring in Kay again here. We started the week with Stroke Play Monday and Tuesday, 155 players. Now we're down to these 2 16-year-olds. How do they stack up on paper?
On paper, like I've said all week long, Brooke Henderson is the one to beat. She has a huge resume. She is building a resume of winning, much like Lorena Ochoa and Annika Sorenstam did before they turned professional. She also finished 10th in the Women's Open Championship, which was it really opened eyes to everybody watching her. The one thing she has going against her is that she has the burden of trying to win for Canada for the first time in 36 years. She's not only trying to win for herself and her family, but she's trying to represent Canada. That was the last time someone from Canada has won the women's amateur. Now you look at Kristen Gillman, and she is the underdog. She's been the person that has continually surprised everybody. She's just slowly starting to build her resume. She's taken down, as you mentioned, already 3 of the top 10 world ranking players, and her coach said, why don't we take down number 2 as well? So she continually surprises, and that shows a lot about her, sort of her strength, her inner strength and fortitude, and her never give up attitude.
Back out at the 9th, Gillman first to play.
And an uphill shot of 96 yards, Steve. Hole on the right side, kind of in a little bowl area short of the upper plateau. Important to keep it below the hole here, very fast from behind.
How about that golf shot by Kristen Gillman? Using the contour of the green there to inside about 4 feet. So again, I was saying, Kay, a very critical part of the match for Kristen, and what a way to respond.
I don't think Kristen is the kind of person that gets negatively affected by things that happen to her. I think she has a really great ability to stay in the present and get done what needs to be done.
So with Gillman in close, Henderson the 3-up lead. She's ready for her second.
And it's just 4 yards closer at 92 yards, a little uphill lie. Got to be careful not to ease up on this a little bit. The little knob that's just short right of the hole. If you miss this right, a very difficult up and down. So don't challenge the right-hand side. Take it at it or slightly left.
So a couple of good shots here at the par 4 ninth. Henderson maintains her 3-up lead as Championship Sunday continues from Nassau Country Club. We're back at the par 4 ninth, the 27th hole of this championship match. Brooke Henderson a 3-up lead over Kristen Gillman. A couple of birdie putts upcoming. Gillman winning this hole this morning with a long birdie putt.
Well, she certainly has a lot shorter one this time, Steve. And so Henderson really needs to give this putt a run. She's putting uphill. It's going to be considerably slow. Moving to her left, pretty good the first half of the putt, but don't be surprised if the last 3 feet it straightens out just a little bit.
They're in the middle of essentially their 9th round playing this golf course this week. 36 holes, the stroke play qualifying at the beginning, and then series of match play to this 36-hole final. So Phil starting to really, yesterday and today, get a good feel of how to play this golf course and the subtleties.
Absolutely. And one of the keys is controlling your speed on your putts, and both players have done a wonderful job all week.
You see Brooke's sister Brittany caddying for her, has been on the bag for many of the big championships she has played in.
Older sister, 23 years old, played golf in Charleston,
Coastal Carolina. So that one loses pace. So a good opportunity for Gillman to get one back here.
It's convenient for Brooke Henderson to have an older sister, Brittany, that plays golf well also. As a matter of fact, when they were growing up, where you found Brittany, Brooke was usually not too far behind.
I grew up watching my older sister, Brittany. She's 7 years older than I am, so she was much better when I started growing up, and I wanted to be just like her. I'd follow around every weekend watching her play tournaments, swinging a stick in the rough, trying to match her swing, and she's been a huge role model for me growing up and still is, and luckily this week she's on my bag and she's a great support system.
Now Gillman for birdie here at 9, win the hole.
Well, one that she still has to be careful of. Not a problem there. Well done.
Well done by Kristen Gillman. Wins the 9th with a birdie in the morning. Does so again here this afternoon. They head to the final 9 of this championship match. Henderson with a 2-up lead.
Welcome back. After Brooke Henderson took holes 25 and 26 of this championship to go 3 up, Kristen Gillman bounces back to take the 27th hole, and Henderson's lead is now cut. She is 2 up as we head to the back 9 to the 10th hole, and Gillman will be the first to play.
And Jane, we mentioned the Henderson sisters. It's a 6th sister act now for the Gillmans.
Yeah, it certainly is. Father Mark's given way to one of his daughters, Emily, who's 18 years of age and headed to Nebraska University.
She got on a plane last night and arrived here at midnight. It was a last-minute decision by the family.
And also her coach, Justin Pointer, came along with Emily. So there's some support out here.
Meanwhile, tonight, PGA Championship Week comes to a close, and Golf Channel is live in rainy Louisville. As a major champion is revealed, our experts go inside an exciting final round with highlights and analysis. Plus, we'll hear from the winner and take a look back at the week that was from Valhalla. Live from the PGA Championship tonight on Golf Channel at 7 Eastern or immediately following network coverage of the PGA Championship. So now Kristen Gillman prepares to to tee off here on the par 3 10th.
Yeah, just popped into the halfway house, the Calamity Jane house as it's known. And so much history out here at Nassau Country Club. It's a treat. Great classic golf course. A little bit of influence from Seth Rayner, Devereaux Emmett, golf course architects, and of course Kay. The greens have been renovated to just beautiful condition.
And they were renovated over a year ago by Tom Fazio.
This morning when they played this hole, both left their tee shots well short, probably 40 to 50 feet from the hole.
Well, the hole was set up much tougher this morning. They used the back right tee, 188 yards. The USGA has moved the tee up. It's playing 154 this afternoon.
Still the same hole location, back right, and you must stay short, ideally just to the left. Very steep right behind the hole, so you can't afford to be long. This is going right at it if it's the right club.
Oh, very nice. Beautiful.
Nicely done.
2 superb iron shots in a row.
And now Henderson.
And the beauty of match play is that quite often the play of your opponent can maybe change your strategy to some degree, where you might normally, as Jane said, you might favor this left of the hole after a shot like that by your opponent. I believe now you're going to take pretty much dead aim and give yourself a chance. She's been hitting her irons well all week. Her miss has tended to be, for the most part, to the left with her shorter clubs, and so maybe a comfortable hole location for her here.
So there is Henderson's shot, the 16-year-old from Canada. We've heard how tight she is with her sister Brittany. She also has an interesting relationship with a Canadian golfing legend, the 1956 winner of this event, Marlene Stewart-Straight.
Marlene is an amazing person. She was such an amazing amateur golfer and has won so many titles that it's mind-blowing, but she's always there. She texts you after a good round or a bad round telling you it's all right and giving good advice all the time. She was an outstanding match play player, and over the past few years she's sort of given hints here and there, and I've been able to take a hold of them this week and use some of them.
And now World Golf Hall of Famer Marlene Stewart-Straight joins us now live on the phone from Toronto. Marlene, what has been your impression of young Brooke Henderson?
Oh, well, I've been impressed right from the get-go. I can't believe she's only 16. I guess I've been watching her maybe for about 4 or 5 years, but she's terrific. And not only is she just a great golfer, but she's just a very, very sweet girl, and like 16 going on 32. I think when I was 16, I was probably going on 12.
Marlene, this is Kay Cockrell. You've had such an amazing career. You are the most decorated Canadian amateur golfer. What would this mean for Canada to have Brooke win today?
Oh, I think this is fabulous, and I think a lot of the young players look up to her, and this is going to be tremendous. The program that they have here in Canada, at Golf Canada, with you all have been very kind with your comments about their program, and they definitely are being very successful in what they're doing, and the girls love the coaches. Tristan's been doing a great job, and Carol. It's a great program, and this is what they're getting out of it. It's perfect.
Marlene, Steve Burkowski here. What is the most rewarding part of getting the chance to interact and sort of work with Brooke? She speaks so highly of you, saying you've imparted some wonderful wisdom. What's the rewarding part from your perspective?
Well, I just try and keep in touch with these kids and encourage them. I let them know I'm proud of them. That somebody else is really concerned about them other than their family and Golf Canada and all the rest. And it's just, I've done this my whole life. I mean, I love to see these younger players play well, and I don't know what else to say. She's great.
What advice would you give her right now? She's up in the match, but she's going against an underdog that's very feisty.
Well, you just have to stay in your own zone, and Kay, you just have to keep playing your own game. That's what I said in my little message to her last night. Just play the golf course, and hopefully that's what she'll do, and can keep in her own game and not in their opponent's game. It's never over till it's over.
Well, Marlene, stay tuned. I know you will. Thanks for joining us and taking the time.
Don't worry.
All the best, Marlene.
Thank you.
That was Marlene Stewart-Street, and now Henderson for birdie.
Oh, I think she thought that was going to move down to the left more, and it stayed straight. Got a little fooled right there.
Henderson trying to become the first Canadian since 1978's Kathy Shirk to win this tournament. Before that, it was Marlene who did it in 56.
And when Marlene won in 56, who did she beat? The great Gundy, Joanne Gunderson-Carner.
Well, and Kay, you can't get two more famous names in match play amateur golf than those two, Joanne Carner, Marlene Street, and I've had the pleasure to actually play against Marlene in the Commonwealth matches in Perth, and talk about a feisty competitor, so she knows what it takes to win. Now, this putt of Gillman's eminently makeable, great position to putt from. Not a lot in this at all. If you keep it firm, it won't break much.
Oh, that's two putts in the last three holes that have hit the edge.
Oh, so close for Gillman, and now Henderson for par.
And not a whole lot in this putt. Had the opportunity to watch it as it went by. Obviously, she's been really solid from this length all week. She has more of a kind of a short, compact stroke. A lot of acceleration through the ball. And throughout the week, despite the situation, the stress of the moment, she's been able to maintain that acceleration through the ball and has putted very well.
I asked her coach in what department has she improved most, and he said just maturing and dealing with expectations and dealing with pressure situations and knowing how the body handles it. And with each success, she's just gotten more confident.
So now Gillman for par. And Henderson maintains her 2-up lead as we go to 11. As we've said, Kristen Gillman this week has already knocked off 3 of the world's top 10 ranked women's amateurs here at Nassau Country Club. So you would think she likes the course. And you know what? She has an affinity for this place.
I like everything about this course. I love that it's challenging and that there are a few long holes out there, and because I hit my long clubs really well, just as good as my short clubs, so that's nice. And then, I don't know, I just love the challenge on the greens and all the slope, and you have to pay attention to where you want to land the ball on some greens. Some greens are harder than others, and I just love everything about it.
And I'd love this place too. I can't imagine how excited these girls are to play this course every day. It's so beautiful. I want to send a special thanks to Scott Blau, the superintendent, who's gotten this course in such great shape. It always is beautiful. Drew Pahalski, who's the head professional here, he and his staff done an amazing job. And Thomas Sparandio, who's the GM. How about how that clubhouse is run?
Awfully impressive. Very good stuff all week long. Now the tee here at the 11th to 29th hole. Gillman set to go.
Been playing 409 today. Players drive it up in the narrow part, just right of that long fairway bunker there. And everybody likes that one. And why not? Right down the center cut.
And now with Henderson next, I had an opportunity to speak with Tristan Mullally. He is the national team head coach for Canada's women's programs. And to your point, Kay, he mentioned that from a mental standpoint, a stress standpoint, how much better that Henderson tends to do under pressure. She focuses more. She's able to get it done more as opposed to getting a little too lackadaisical.
She, like a lot of great players, welcomes the spotlight and the big stage.
Now that fairway bunker is no bargain depending on the lie.
She's found that a couple of times this week.
So advantage Gillman here at the par 4 11th. Henderson hanging on to the 2-up lead. We will see how they play the rest of this par 4 when we come back. Championship Sunday continues here from Nassau Country Club. Brooke Henderson with a 2-up lead through 28 holes of this 36-hole final match. And what a week it has been. What a great championship match it has been so far as well, Kay.
It's the premier event in women's amateur golf, and it is a long route to the finals. After 36 holes of stroke play, you basically have 6 different competitors that you face.
And you take a look at the path for Brooke to this championship match, and as you would expect, as you get further along in this championship, the victory's not nearly as easy to come by. As we go back out to the action at 11, Henderson missing the fairway with her tee shot in the fairway bunker, getting ready for her second, Phil.
And not a good spot at all, Brooke. Her ball has gone up fairly close to the lip of the bunker. She's going to have an awkward stance uphill, going to have to get the ball up quickly. She's got 154 yards to where the hole is cut today on the front middle of the green. I don't know that she can hit it that far. Growing up playing hockey, she certainly is very strong in the wrists and capable of hitting it a long way, so I don't want to say she can't, but I'd be very surprised if she could.
And with that steep embankment, this is one of the more elevated greens. Would it be smart just to play to the base, or is she going to try to get it to the front of the green?
Well, I think if you landed on that steep embankment, Kay, that's a good question. It's going to roll back down, all the way back down into the fairway. So you don't really lose anything unless you have a yardage you want to lay up to, say at maybe 70 or 80 yards. And I don't think that would be a bad play, actually, from here, because I just don't see how she could get it really close. The main thing is that you want to get it over the front lip of the bunker. You want to get it up there far enough where you've got a chance to make par, to at least make your opponent earn the victory on this hole.
She just can't seem to get comfortable with the club in her hand, and looks like she went down to a much more lofted club, maybe a sand wedge, where she had maybe a 7 or 8 iron out before. And I think that's the smart play. Don't try to do something that ends up backfiring and ends up costing you some confidence. And she's got an awkward stance, one leg in and out. She has the strength, the lower body, core strength to stay very steady. And look at how she even gets a little leg drive off of that awkward position.
Nothing easy about that for Henderson. So an opening here for Gillman. She gets ready for her second.
Yeah, and a perfect spot to be coming in from, 149 yards. Hole on 14 steps on the left here. Little breeze in her face.
Her setup looks really good. She has a tendency to aim to the right. And she seems to have squared things up in the last 2 days.
Tomorrow, the Golf Fix is all new. Michael Breed looks back at what it took to win the PGA Championship, plus he shows you how to play your way out of trouble on your next round. The Golf Fix tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern on Golf Channel.
Now back down at 11, Henderson and her sister Brittany alongside caddying this week, getting ready for her third. And now you sort of know, okay, what's in the store. Your opponent's up there, probably hole high, 25 feet. You have to find a way to try to make 4.
Exactly, and deflate your opponent just a little bit. You never want to outwardly give them a hole. You want to make your opponent have to work for the win.
Well, there's a little breeze back in there facing from the left, playing uphill 110 yards from this point. It does have a little bit of a backboard behind the hole where there's a ridge that if she flies it past the hole, it might come back towards the hole a little bit.
Here's a look at this ridge that Phil's talking about right here. It's probably about 5 paces behind, and she can afford to land it a little bit long and bring it back. She creates a lot of spin with her irons. She practices a lot with the men, tries to compete with them and keep up and beat them. Oh, excellent shot.
Well done by Henderson. She will have that for par, but Kristen Gillman has a birdie putt before that. While we have a moment, let's go down to Jane.
Well, thanks very much, Steve. I'm with Kristen Gillman's golf coach, Justin Pointer, from the Jim McLean Golf School in Fort Worth, Texas, and you just got in last night, Justin. Tell me your thoughts and your emotions as you watch your protege play in this wonderful amateur championship final.
Super excited for her. It's a great honor for her, for our golf school in Texas, and for the whole Jim McLean system to have another girl in USGA final. This is 2 years in a row, so this is fun.
We've noticed how much tenacity and just never say die sort of attitude that Kristen has. Is that something that she was sort of born with, or have you been able to kind of bring that out of her at the school?
No, I wish we could take credit for it, but I think she was born with it. She's very tough, a nice competitor. She's never going to quit, and when you hit quality shots like that, it's a lot of fun. And
how long have you been coaching her?
Since 8th grade. So she'll be a junior next year.
Well, you've got a great one there. I applaud you for all you've done, and let's see what happens in the next few holes.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. Thanks for the time.
There you go. Thanks, Steve.
Taking a look at how Kristen Gillman has gotten here, and we've mentioned that she's taken out 4th-ranked Celine Boutier, 8th-ranked Su Young Oh, 10th-ranked Andrea Lee, and Justin saying, well, let's try to take down the 2nd-ranked amateur in the world.
Why not? Let's just pick them off that list.
Yeah, they've done quite well down there with some of the young junior golfers and the success they've had.
And his other student that he spoke of that was runner-up last year was Lakarabe Abe, who lost in the girls' junior final last year.
Also heading to Alabama.
I think they'll have a strong program.
Yes, they will. So Gillman now with a wonderful opportunity here for birdie to win the hole. Henderson with a great recovery, so she's inside of 5 feet for par. So an opportunity for Gillman to get one closer.
It should have a little bit of right to left movement to it. Usually takes 8 or 9 looks at the hole before she pulls the trigger. Her tendency usually is to come up a little short on her putts. Although at the 8th hole we saw her run it well by in 3-putt.
Not a lot of concessions in this championship match. That's about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet remaining. So a mark thrown down on that one. Henderson with this short one would be a really, really good par after the tee shot. And the smart play to not bite off more than she could chew with that second.
Absolutely. You know, momentum is so important in these matches. You can get on a roll, but your time will elapse. You want to take advantage of it while you have it. And in order to make par here and have this hole after being stuck underneath the lip of that bunker, that can be momentum changing.
Interesting, she just asked Gillman to step aside a little bit and give her a little more space. Maybe felt like she was standing a little too close. You never want your opponent to feel like you've lost control, so by taking control, playing the way she did coming into this hole, even though she missed the drive, shows that she has control of her game and that she can make par from anywhere. The shadow of that plane goes right over as she putts.
That's good focus, right? Wow. How about that?
That was incredible. I was wondering if she was thinking about the plane or the putt. Obviously, it was the latter.
So Henderson in with par. She conceded the rest to Gillman, so the 29th hole halved with 4. Henderson maintaining her 2-up advantage in this championship match.
Just like a pro would do it. And speaking of pros, with the year's next major on the horizon, see which stars will gather momentum. The Meyer LPGA Classic continues today at 5 p.m. Eastern. It is also available streaming on the Golf Live Extra app. Heading into the final round, NB Park continues to lead.
Who holds 3 USGA titles in her hands, a girls junior and 2 women's opens. We also have 6 former U.S. amateur champions in the field. Most recently, Lydia Ko, who won in 2012.
Now we head to the tee at 12, which this week has been playing more difficultly than any other hole on this course.
Longest par 4 on the course, although it does have an elevated tee, and those bunkers come in on the right. Jane, we see more of the misses happen in the left rough here.
Well, the left side of the fairway is certainly the better angle, Kay, especially to this right-hand hole location, and it is in the front today, so probably the most friendly spot I've seen the flag so far this week. Very high ball flight, this one, going right down the center. Maybe left center. That's a pretty good spot to approach.
Now on this hole this morning, Henderson made her only bogey. She drove it into the deep rough on the left side of the fairway. Her second shot, she couldn't advance it out of the rough. So let's see how she plays this one.
And there is some deep rough in places, Randy. I mean, it almost looks like spots like patches of ochre or something is so thick. You have to really watch out for it. And her miss is to the left. And she missed the last one into the fairway bunker left. And see here if she makes a little bit of an adjustment.
Oh, that looked lovely. What a really strong swing there.
Beautifully done by Brooke Henderson. Well, the motto here at Nassau Country Club is where champions play, which is especially appropriate since this place has a fascinating tie with one of the game's greatest champions. Just outside of New York City sits one of America's most storied golf venues, Nassau Country Club. As one of the original 50 founding members of the USGA, its rich history began in 1896 and has continued to present day. Many stories originated at Nassau, but one stands above the rest. The most famous club in golf, the Calamity Jane putter that guided Bobby Jones to his illustrious run of 13 wins and 21 majors through his Grand Slam of 1930. As history tells us, that iconic putter was given to Jones on the present-day 18th green here at Nassau Country Club.
Bobby Jones was a frequent player at Nassau Country Club due to his close relationship with Jim Maiden. After playing a practice round with some of the members, Jim Maiden retrieved a putter from the pro shop It was a putter that had a little more loft, and he wanted Bobby to hit down on the ball a little. The story goes that he started to make 12-footers with ease. And naturally, Jim Maiden was kind enough to give him his putter, which he had named Calamity Jane. After that point, Bobby Jones went on to win his first major and did capture all 13 of his majors with 2 different versions of his Calamity Jane putter.
Calamity Jane 2, a careful reconstruction of the original, was created by Spalding and introduced to Jones after his major win number 3.
Calamity Jane putter is probably the most famous golf club in all the world. It has its own featured place in the USGA Museum.
In honor of Bobby Jones and his magical putter, the halfway house on the grounds of Nassau Country Club is called the Calamity Jane House and features a portrait of Jones along with a replica of the famous putter given to him almost 100 years ago, just steps away on the 18th green. So Bobby Jones, a legendary champion who played at Nassau Country Club. There are some of the others, including Alex Smith, winner of the 1906 and 1910 U.S. Open.
I thought it was interesting. I looked this up, and Maiden had named the putter Calamity Jane. For what greater calamity could befall a golfer than a short putt missed? And what greater averter of calamity than a long putt hold?
And he gave the putter to Jones, but made him earn it by dropping a few 8 or 10 feet from the hole and said, you make all 3 of these and the putter is yours. And of course, Bobby Jones dropped them all. Let's go back out to the course now and check out Gillman, who believes the first to play.
Yes, indeed, Kristen will be first to play. And as I said earlier, this is a very generous hole location. I think it's probably the easiest one I've seen so far on this green, Kay. Just 169 yards, 159 to the front, and you can bounce this one up a little bit.
This green, like several out here, has a wide opening, and it's relatively flat in the front, so you could land it just short and bounce it in. Now, from the fairway, no need to do that. But she still probably will hit it just about front yardage.
Yeah, these greens are certainly firming up a little bit in the sunshine and the warmth out here right now.
The only place you don't want to miss it is right in the greenside bunker. And there's that's really nicely played.
Yeah, another couple of yards of carry would have been perfect, but not a bad play at all.
And important when you're hitting first, Phil, to get it on the green relatively close and then see what your opponent can do. And for the most part, Brooke hit second.
For the most part, she does, although I'm surprised. Gillman has kept up distance-wise as much as she has with Brooke. Brooke is very long off the tee. This front right hole location, you do have to be careful not to short side yourself in the right-hand bunker. Henderson with 163 yards here. Difficult up and down out of that bunker, short side yourself, not much green to work with.
She's a player that has a large repertoire of shots. She can shape things left to right and right to left. A little drop shot left to right would be nice here. Looks like she was set up right at the flag.
She's not happy with it.
And no, that's the miss she didn't want, and so we'll see what sort of lie she gets in the bunker.
Just where Kay and Phil said she did not want to be, right of the green. Stay with us. Back live with Brooke Henderson from the bunker.
Difficult shot, but she does have an uphill lie. Makes the shot a little easier. And it's still going to run out a ways by. Just a bad miss to miss over on that side of the green, Kay.
Yep, you with all that green to the left of the flagstick. I thought she'd set up for a little cut and kind of peel it in there, but she was aimed right at the flagstick and pushed it. Let's take a look at this bunker shot again. Set up fairly square. And maybe just didn't nip it quite enough, caught a little too much sand, and it didn't have a tremendous amount of spin on it.
So the door open a bit for Kristen Gillman to cut the lead of Henderson to 1 up.
And Randy, really time for her to put a good stroke on this. And at this point, she really does need to make this and take advantage of this good shot. Not a lot of break in it. If anything, Kate might just peel a little bit to the right.
Oh, good looking putt. Wow.
There you go.
That is the third putt of some length that Kristen Gillman has dropped in this 36-hole final, and she has now cut Brooke Henderson's lead to 1 up through 30.
Let's take a look again. She's aiming just outside the left edge, and there's that gentle move to the right.
So the door was open just a bit, and Kristen Gillman took advantage. You can improve your next round of golf with valuable advice from thousands just like you. Head to golfadvisor.com for course reviews, facility ratings, and honest assessments, including this week's PGA Championship venue, Valhalla Golf Club. For golfers, by golfers. Visit golfadvisor.com today.
Now to the 31st hole of this championship match, the par 4 13, 386 yards. It was won this morning by Henderson with a par, and just 45 minutes ago we said it was a very critical, perhaps dangerous part of this championship for Gillman. She has responded by winning the 27th and 30th hole. She has the honor, 1 down.
Well, there is no give up in this young lady. At age 16, I think that's kind of born into you. It's hard to learn. Must put this on the fairway, put the pressure back on her opponent.
Well, when she was 4 down in the quarterfinals to Sue O, afterwards, Kristen said, I just tried very hard. I just put my nose down, and I didn't want to leave the golf course with any regrets, win or lose. And so it shows what kind of fighting spirit she has, and that's what Brooke really has to look out for. This Gillman is not going to go away.
Well, and I think a key point here, a moment in the match for Brooke as well, because she was 3 up and probably thinking in her mind, hey, guess what, this is going great. And now all of a sudden, boom, she's still 1 up, but she's lost a couple holes. It's put more pressure on her.
Very easy as a golfer to futurize or dwell in the past. You have to stay in the present.
So good one there by Henderson down the right center portion of this fairway as Championship Sunday continues here from Nassau Country Club. Kristen Gillman just 1 down in this championship match. A birdie at the 12th, the 30th hole of this final. Got her within 1, and momentum clearly on her side.
So our colleague Kay Cockrell won the U.S. Women's Amateur twice in 1986 and 1987, and now we surprise Kay with a little walk down memory lane.
That was from Pasatiempo. That's my dad in the lower right who taught me how to play. He was a single-digit handicap, a longtime newspaper man. Pasatiempo, where I grew up 20 minutes from there, so it was in my backyard. It was probably my best memories of golf, and my proudest moments were those 2 women's amateur championships.
Seems like just yesterday, right?
Oh, yeah.
And here is what the winner of the 114th U.S. Women's Amateur receives. Exemptions from qualifying, for example, to the 2015 U.S. Women's Open.
Right, and actually, Brooke Henderson is already exempt for next year's Women's Open by virtue of her tie for 10th finish, so it would be more meaningful for that part of it for Kristen Gillman to win, but some nice perks.
Now back out to the 13th, the 31st hole of this championship match, and Gillman getting ready for her second.
Yeah, and players able in the USGA Championships to use the range finders. It certainly helps speed up play. And the range that Kristen finds herself is 128 yards uphill, this elevated green. And the flag today in the back right on 23. Just on a little plateau, Kay, just 6 behind it.
Yeah, and I want to bring John in, Vandervoort. That rule was made earlier this year to use with laser finders.
Yeah, laser range finders have been approved under local rule for quite a few years now, but this year we, along with the RNA, decided to allow them in our amateur championships. It's become a part of the game for most of these players, and so we've felt that that was appropriate. Additionally, they don't really have professional caddies, so it's a lot more helpful.
It's a slight breeze at her back.
Oh, she's really in sync right now. She's hitting all her iron shots are right on line.
Another good one there by Gillman. We have seen some consistently good iron play, especially coming down the stretch the past few matches for Gillman, so Henderson needs to respond.
And she has 115 yards up the hill, and a fairly difficult hole location here. There's a subtle ridge right about where Gillman's ball stopped. And Gillman played a lower shot that released back to the hole. If we can listen in here for a second, maybe.
Yeah, here's a look from overhead, looking at that ridge, which it's 20 paces to the top of that ridge, and then the hole is just 23 paces on, so just a little bit past the top.
Anyway, she likes to play a little higher trajectory than Gillman does, and if she flies this back to the hole, I'm afraid it will likely skip over the green. There's not much behind this hole location.
And what is behind is a closely mown area that slopes down and away. Maybe a little in between clubs, gripping down a good 2 inches on that.
Well, she judged that very well. The advantage maybe to have that sister Brittany, who is playing professional golf now, on her bag.
Henderson and Gillman have each won 5 matches this week to get to this point. Yesterday in the semifinal, Henderson defeated Hannah O'Sullivan. This was the 4th hole. At this point, Henderson was 1 up.
Yeah, Hannah actually came out and won the first 2 holes. Then they traded back and forth. This was a beautiful shot out of the deep primary rough.
4th hole, Henderson for birdie.
Yeah, so this needing to go in with her opponent in tight, and she makes it first, so they end up having that hole.
With a par, and then on the 8th hole, this was the 3rd shot for Henderson.
Yeah, this is a great example of the type of finesse and creativity she has around these greens. Nearly a perfect shot.
All square on the 14th as Henderson has her 3rd shot.
Misplayed a short iron, but it didn't matter.
So 1 up into the 18th hole. Henderson had 2 putts to win the match, which obviously she did in 1-up fashion over Hannah O'Sullivan. Some sportsmanship there as the match was over. A second consecutive 1-up victory by Henderson. She also defeated Allison Lee, number 3 in the world, the week before that, the day before that in the quarterfinals, 1-up.
So a couple of birdie putts upcoming here at 13. Very close. A USGA official out to determine who will be away.
And that is Shannon Rouliard, who is chairman of this championship.
And John, sometimes just the visual look at it, not enough.
That's correct. We have a little tool called a gotcha, which is a little hook to hook around the flagstick and then measure out to where the balls would be and determine who's away. And it's always important that the player who's further away play first. The player who hit it closer gets a little strategic advantage that way to see what they have to do.
In stroke play, not necessary, you can just sort of flip a coin or say, but you go ahead. And often they will flip a coin sometimes. I've seen that approach when it's...
If it was exactly equal or they were unable to tell, they would flip a coin and decide it by lot.
It's like bringing out the chains in a football game.
Yeah, very much.
So it looks as though Henderson, I believe, was deemed to be just a little bit further away.
Well, her putt appears to go a little to her right, but and looking at the fringe, a lot of times a great way to read greens is not only, we've been talking this week about aim point and feeling with your feet, but you can also get a clue by looking at the fringe, at high points on the fringe, and there's a little high point on the fringe past the hole a little bit to her right, and it makes me wonder if maybe this won't break to the right quite as much as it looks.
There's a lot of those kind of subtleties on these greens. Another good way to help visualize the break is to imagine if you poured over a bucket of water or a glass of water, which way would the water run?
I mentioned earlier an advantage with her sister Brittany, who played at Coastal Carolina, as we mentioned earlier, on the bag, helping her.
And they've played so much golf together. Never high enough. Brittany knows her game better than just about anybody and knows her tendencies and her strengths.
So another opening here for Gillman, for birdie to win the hole and square the match.
And Jane, unlike the Hendersons, Emily is not really involved with reading the putts. That's been Kristen's MO the whole week. She has handled the reading of the greens on her own, even when her dad was caddying.
Yeah, and she's done a pretty darn good job. Sticking with her pre-shot routine, straddling the line, a couple of practice swings while looking at the hole. And Kay, from my look at this green this morning, this should break to her right, maybe just outside the hole.
Chance to square the match. Oh, man.
A little more borrow is what she needed.
Mm-hmm. A little good there.
So the 13th halved with pars. Henderson maintaining a one-up lead, but it was almost all square. Oh, so close. I think Gillman liked it for a very long time. So as Henderson heads to the 14th hole, hanging on to that one-up lead. Trying to join a very elite list of Canadians to win USGA championships. We heard from Marlene Stewart-Street a little bit earlier in our broadcast. Kathy Shirk, 36 years ago, the last Canadian to win the U.S. Women's Amateur back in 1978. We head to the tee at 14.
Almost all square. That putt didn't fall, though, for Kristen Gillman, and so Henderson maintains that one-up advantage.
And that one-up advantage, it doesn't seem like much, but it's huge because your opponent has to win 2 holes to win and get ahead of you. So 1 hole to square the match and then another 2 to actually get ahead in the match.
Off-hole location here, Kay. Right up on top of that little knoll. Good drive is very important to be able to judge your distance on the approach.
Kristen hit it in the left rough here earlier today.
No, not today. She has ripped that one. That's a long drive.
And she's hitting it down grain. These fairways are mown in the traditional manner, down 2 cuts, 1 down and back into the grain, coming back towards the tee.
Henderson's high school golf team at Lake Travis High School is having a viewing party back in Austin today. So they're obviously watching this with interest as Henderson steps up.
She really lags that under on the way down, creates a lot of leverage